when they told me that you were booked, I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
We got Lance Armstrong to come here, the first man on the moon.
Exactly. I never really got a big rush out of winning the Tour de France.
Oh, come on.
What I got a rush out of was trying to win the Tour de France.
You're looking all hale.
Well, what?
Hale.
What's that mean?
What are you, from Texas? Hale means healthy.
Oh, healthy. Yeah, I feel healthy.
You look it.
Yeah.
You look,
Yeah,
how old are you now?
52.
Do you remember when you came to my show in Austin with Cheryl? You and Cheryl came to a stand-up show I did in Austin.
Yeah, where was that? Maybe at the Paramount or something, maybe?
I don't know the theaters. I mean, I know them when I'm there, but like,
Right,
you know,
right.
exactly something just
in the
like
alley,
that. Is that a nice theater in downtown?
Yeah, it's right on Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have to drink, Lance?
I'm having a little vodka soda.
I mean, I know you're just a body is my temple kind of guy.
Yeah, right.
So but
What is that, water?
what?
What is that?
That's just soda.
Yeah. You don't drink.
You know, that's a sore point. I mean, I'd love to drink. I love liquor. Liquor, I never had a bad thing to say about liquor. But you know what? You just can't do it at 67.
Right, it gets harder.
It's
You're
just,
67 now?
yeah.
Wow.
Is that a wow? He's still alive, or?
I think you're doing great for 67.
Yeah, I do too.
You know.
It only goes one way. Is the problem is that trend of
Right.
things getting worse and lower to the ground,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
weaker and. But what is the alternative? Nothing.
Not good.
Yeah, so
It's not good.
I mean, you're somebody who obviously faced death because of your ball.
Right. Yeah, one bad one.
All it takes is one, I hear.
By the way, 27 years ago. Crazy to think. Talking about this whole year, I've been just sort of thinking about time and the passage of time, and just like as you timestamp certain events in your life. Like I just timestamped one. I just said I was diagnosed 27 years ago.
Right.
I could timestamp, the first Tour de France, which was 24 years ago.
I
right?
do it compulsively.
Or, the birth of a child, but it doesn't matter if it's, 5, 10, 20 years ago. We all have the same reaction, I find, at least I do, and I think many others do as well, is that, wow, that feels like yesterday. Well, now, if it's a year ago and you say it feels like yesterday, you feel like, cool, we're moving slow. But if it's 27 years ago and you can say, wow, that feels like yesterday, or 20 years ago, or this year, the thing that really got me thinking about this was this year, last January, was the 10-year anniversary of doing an interview with Oprah.
Oh.
And so many people, and it was, for whatever reason.
I remember it.
Yeah, right. So do I.
It was one of those.
So,
wow.
But it made news again because it was the 10-year anniversary, and so many people would say to me, wow, it's already been 10 years? That feels like yesterday. And I pretty much spent the whole year thinking about that, just like, fuck. Because they're right. It does, to me, at least. It feels like yesterday. But the bigger...
Well, that was a big whooping you took.
Yeah, it was. But the bigger thing is, does that mean that 10 years from now is going to feel like tomorrow? So I don't know. It's just a weird thing I obsessed over this year. And yes, it was a whipping.
I remember this buddy of mine, I won't say who, when he told me this story once. He got...
What are his initials? I'm just kidding.
He got engaged to this girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were young comedians, and you'd meet somebody on the road, and we were lonely, so it was love, and then he realized he couldn't go through with it, and he said he had to break up with her in front of her family. He had to fly to whatever this city was, and do it that way, which was the stand-up thing to do. But with her and her family both there at the same in the living room, and I thought, that was kind of like your Oprah thing on the level of degree of difficulty, to endure. when I saw the documentary, I don't remember what year that was. It wasn't that long ago.
The 30 for 30?
Probably that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Right. Okay. So I texted. Oh, sounds like I'm name dropping, but I know that we're not the greatest buddies in the world, but we like each other. We're friendly. I think he's fantastic, Chris Evans.
Mm-hmm.
So I texted him. I said, Evans, if you are not playing Lance Armstrong in the next 5 years, you should fire your agent, because this story, I really think is like, and I think he would be great doing you. He's the right age, can cover the early and the late. You know, and I was like a story. It was very sympathetic to you. I came away thinking, wow, you know, this is a guy who kind of got sacrificed on the altar of America just wants a winner. It's like so important to, when they do surveys about America, it's always very important that we're number one. And then they ask them, what do you think we are in, like, you know, child mortality? 1, it's like we're 82, you know, we're behind like Slovenia and shit. But I felt like that's what this story is. Like, they just pushed a guy and then punished him for it. When everybody was doing it, it's just a great story. I don't know why somebody doesn't make this movie.
Yeah. Well, they've made several documentaries. They have made a feature film.
That's not this.
But they've made a feature film that Ben Foster played me.
They did?
Yep. Who it didn't, you know, you can talk to Ben about it.
He's good.
Love him. Groot. I was obviously not involved in that portrayal, but
what movie is this?
It was called The Program.
And it's specifically your story?
Absolutely.
But it's not like a Romana Clay of
Yes, it is. But
so it's not actually, they use a different name.
No, they do not.
Oh, so it's actually.
Yeah.
And what would you say the theme of it was? Was it just, because if they got the theme wrong, then it's not going to work.
No, look, I've led a really interesting and complicated life, and there's a whole lot of this shit that's true, and amidst all of the fallout and all of the stories and documentaries and articles and interviews that people were doing, and just this mad rush to capture the story, you know, as is a lot of it is true, there's also a lot that's just not true, right? And so, but it just depends which view you want to take of it. But it was a messy.
But even the part that I know is true, I'm not mad at you. You know what I mean? And I think America isn't either. You know, some people get canceled and they go away, and some people get canceled and they come back because people are like, yeah, you know what? It's always fun to cancel someone at the time, but then you think about it and you're like, oh yeah. And they kind of like come around to the point, the theme I'm saying should be the theme of the movie. It should not just.
Well, we can talk about that. Or somebody can talk about
that. I'm just an idea man.
You and I are not going to be. And by the way,
somebody will hear it, hopefully.
I was.
Make that movie.
It's funny enough, I was, as you probably know this, but watched you for many, many years. And so anything you do, I sort of pay attention to. And I saw that you were doing this hour-long special with Jake Tapper on CNN. Probably 9 months ago.
Right in this room.
Exactly. And I said, well, I'm, you know, I love Bill Maher. I said, I'm going to watch that. So I'm, my wife and I are sitting there watching it, and well, you know, all of a sudden this, the notion or the idea in and around cancel culture comes up, and I get a shout out. I said,
oh, really? From him or me?
From you.
Oh, good.
I appreciated that.
What was the context exactly?
Well, Jake was just asking you about all of these things in society now, whether it's the definition of woke or.
Yeah, but how'd your name come up?
Well, he asked you about cancel culture, and you said, look, I think it's to the effect of, I think it's gone too far. And you said, for example, look at Lance Armstrong. And I really like Lance Armstrong. That's what you said.
I do.
I appreciate it. No, but by the way, nobody.
I wouldn't invite you here if I didn't like you.
Nobody tipped me off. I'm just sitting at home watching with my wife,
right,
struggling through these fucking long commercials that they have on CNN, and you drop that, and I look at my wife, and I was like,
yeah, it's nice. It's nice when it happens positively. I've also had it happen to me.
Of course,
where I'm
negatively.
watching TV. It happened twice last year. 2 shows where it's scripted shows, where there's this fucking insult.
Yeah.
And so you're like in bed, like, oh, I'll watch this light, frothy comedy. This will put me to sleep. Yeah. And you're watching, and then Bill Maher, like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that can happen. Not that I'm complaining about.
Whether I like to admit it or not, because I've been at the crosshairs of 60 Minutes twice now, but nonetheless, I love the show. I like 60 Minutes. So if I can't watch it, I'll DVR it. But this is to your point. And so not this Sunday, but the Sunday previously, they had, one of the features was on doping and horse racing, right?
Yeah.
You followed all this stuff with all of that. And so I'm watching this. This is exactly what you just said. And I'm like, I have a feeling I'm going to get brought into this. I'm not a fucking horse.
Right.
I've never been to a horse race.
Right.
And they're talking and they're going after these guys, the trainers of the horses, everything else. And then they get to this point and they said, and they're even giving these horses the same drug that Lance Armstrong took. And next thing you know, the entire screen is me on a bike. And I'm like, what? Like, I got 2 legs, they got 4.
Right.
Like, I don't know shit about horses.
It's like when somebody in the Me Too thing would do some very minor thing, and then they'd put their picture right next to Harvey Weinstein. Like, Me Too, out of control. And that's so funny, though. I mean, not to you, it was terrible probably at the time, but yeah, no, you survived it, though.
I like to think so.
No, you did.
And I knew I was going to survive.
So who is the greatest horse race, the greatest horse ever in racing? Is there such a thing like
in cycling?
Racing, horse racing. Like, who's the greatest horse?
I don't know, Secretariat or something.
Secretariat.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be amazing if he had one ball?
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I don't.
You're fine now, right? I mean, you even though they said that you had such a low chance of survival, and it never ever came back.
No, not yet. And I had, I always not
Isn't that frightening, really,
it
about
is
the
frightening.
human body.
I had my first. Look, I never think about cancer. I never worry about cancer. I never worry about a secondary. I never do, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but it just doesn't cross my mind. I do regular health checks just like everybody does. But I did get, this was the weirdest thing. I mean, not the weirdest, but this was the closest I've been to being like, oh, fuck. I got my first colonoscopy like 3 weeks ago. And I'm 52, so I'm already sort of past the time of when I think now they say, especially with my history, I probably should have started at 45. But everybody talks shit about, literally, about colonoscopies.
For a very good reason.
And I was like, outside of the prep, which is the worst part, I'm like, God, I was a little nervous about it. But it went fine. It went great. Totally clear.
Nervous about them finding something, or nervous about liking a thing up your ass?
As you know, that part you don't even know is going on. I mean, I got the
I mean,
what do you call it?
But here's the thing: like everything in medicine, there is not a uniformity in the idea that is the best way to.
I agree. There's a lot of data out there, or a lot of research out there. I mean, look at you're talking about whether or not colonoscopies are effective, or whether
they're effective, but maybe there's a way that's less invasive.
Right.
I mean, once in a while, they say it's better because, like, if they see a polyp or something, they clip it, and then it doesn't. Okay.
But compare us to Europeans, right? So Americans and Western Europeans are largely similar. Right. What is the percentage of Western Europeans that get colonoscopies at the age of 50? Very low. Right. So there is another view and another approach to this. Nonetheless, I'm not Western European. and I fucking and I went and did it.
And they give you a little propofol. They put anything up your ass.
Man, it's
fucking put a bicycle up your ass, Lance.
You could have drove Chris Case's truck up my ass. I wouldn't have known it.
That's a yeah. That's yeah. That's something I think I'm not going to do anymore, but I might. But I mean, no, because some of these things, first of all, I do think we overtest in this country. Not that testing isn't a tool we should have, but I think I forget what it is called. Something where you send your shit away in the mail. I was telling William Shatner, I said, once in a while they should put a diamond in there, just so that people who open shit all day are like, oh, it just could happen.
Yeah, anything.
So if that's like 98% as effective, I'm always looking for the thing that's not invasive and not like, body parts. They're kind of like only good in the original, packaging.
Right.
I mean, they do transplants, and it's an issue obviously with trans. We have some of these things are irreversible and they're very severe, and the issue I keep raising that no one else seems to be interested in is that they, of course, have very, very serious health repercussions, as any surgery does, even minor surgery. You're only made of flesh and blood, and little tears cause bigger problems, and you know what I mean? It's all holistic.
The downstream stuff.
I'm sure I know you're crazy knowledgeable about health.
Well, I don't want to oversell it, but
no, but don't you agree with
I'm not
that?
A doctor.
That the body does work holistically, like anything anywhere affects everything everywhere.
I would, yes.
But that's not how Western medicine approaches us. They approach us, specialists. I deal with the kidneys, as if they're not connected to everything else.
Inside the body.
Yeah. I'm guessing you have some doctor on your staff who thinks that way.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I have a doctor. I don't have a doctor on staff. I'm fucking Bill
You
Maher.
only have one doctor?
It's I have one. And we just moved back to Austin, so it's when you move full time somewhere and put your family at a different place, you got to kind of start over, right? You get a new doctor, you get a new dentist, you get a new I don't know, guy that washes your car, you get all kinds of new shit. But I got a new doctor. That's who made me get the colonoscopy.
Oh, I would think you would have a team of.
No.
Because you're an elite world-class athlete.
Yeah, was.
I know, but okay, but that they can never take that away from you, by the way.
Right, of course. But you don't need the kind of following. I'm like a recreational athlete now, Bill.
No, I'm just talking about your health profile. Like most people don't get to, I mean, especially that sport you chose, which has got to be the worst one ever.
It's a hard one.
It's just. I mean, I remember riding my bike up a hill, like when I was a kid, and it was just obnoxious. Yeah. And I was a kid,
Here's the good news: is they now have e-bikes. This was you. I think you're like perfect for an e-bike.
E-bike.
Yeah, like an electric bike, pedal assist. So you pedal, and it's just giving you a little help. You'd love it. I drove here.
I have one.
I saw all these hills around here.
I have one of those. Somebody gave me one. There's no, it's not a convenient place to ride a bike around here. It's residential and there's cars and
people on their phone.
It's not worth it didn't bring me any pleasure. It didn't spark joy. As she says, like it's like picking of all the medical fields, being a proctologist. Why would you could be looking at any parts of the body, but no, I'm going to take that. Why biking? Because
you could pick other sports.
You certainly must have been good at football, baseball.
No, I sucked.
Really?
Absolutely terrible.
Like I said, you probably were terrible at the other sports.
Yeah. They all involve balls. Are you seeing the theme here, right? The ball, anything ball related. I struggled. Honest to God, I struggled.
Oh, Lance.
I struggled. You remember? This is funny. I just watched the BlackBerry documentary the other day, and it was just hit really close to home because I loved. Of course, everybody carries an iPhone now, but I loved the BlackBerry. Did you have a BlackBerry?
I did, yes.
Okay, so
and they're back.
Just follow me here. So, so I watched this documentary. It was hard to watch, but I loved my BlackBerry, but at a moment in time, they went from having that wheel on the side to that little ball in the middle where you could sort of navigate.
I remember that.
And I hated the ball. And so, Jim Balzile, one of the founders there, I sent him a note and I said, you know, I've always been better with wheels than balls.
Right.
And so, and sort of pleading him to bring back that little wheel on the side, which of course he didn't do. But no, I wasn't traditional American sports, right? The Big Five, as they are known as. I sucked. I don't have great speed. I don't have great coordination in terms of side to side, and I don't have actually great hand-eye coordination. And so I didn't, and even as a young kid in Texas, I didn't play. I played those sports at a very young age and just wasn't good. And I told my mom, I said, this isn't that fun. And so.
Right. I mean, I think the thing that you're better at is the mental part.
The mental and the endurance part.
Which comes from the mental part. I mean,
yep,
everybody hurts,
yep.
and you just can stand it a little while longer, right?
Yeah. And actually enjoy it.
You get into the pain?
Listen, I go out by myself mostly now, so I can.
Oh, you still ride your bike?
All the time. I have my bike here in Los Angeles. I'm riding it tomorrow morning.
How far do you go?
Oh, God. These guys were asking me earlier. I said, it's not about the distance, right? Everybody says, well, and maybe people do care about distance. I personally care. We're in Los Angeles. All you have to do is start heading up any of these canyons, and you're getting vertical feet. You're climbing. So all I really care about is what I refer to as total vert for the day. So if I can go out and climb 3,000 feet, you might only ride 15 miles. Who gives a shit? It's better than going and riding 40 miles in Florida on a flat road. It is. Follow me?
I mean, it's just so.
All of a sudden, you just kind of glaze over.
No,
what is he talking about?
I think of myself as somebody who stays in shape. I mean, it's very important to me.
For 67.
Yeah, for absolutely. But that's it. I mean, you're not going to like do everything you did. Yeah. But I still can play basketball games and work out in the gym and. But it's just there is just a quantum difference with elite level athletes and what they put into it and what they can get out of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind. I mean, I'm long past at 52. I don't.
Oh, long. That's not the issue.
Yeah.
No one's.
But it's very.
No one's trying to get you to make a comeback here.
No, thank God. That was the first time I did that. We saw how that worked out, right? But everything's different. I mean, I joked that I'm a recreational athlete. I mean, I really am. I go out for fun. I go out for my sanity. I go out. I call it therapy.
You know, the thing that comedians have over musicians and athletes is probably the greatest thrills they'll ever have happen when they're young, and not necessarily just the way it is.
Athletes have that.
Athletes,
you're correct,
and musicians usually.
Yep. And
comedians, no. It's not always that way.
Right.
You have a good time at 67.
Yeah.
Better than ever. But
that was another one of my.
But that high that you get.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I ever knew a high that high, where you're like, you win the Super Bowl, you win the Tour de France. I mean, that's got to be.
And it's funny, I think about that. I mean, I speak to it a lot.
It's like a drug.
I didn't, I never really got a big rush out of winning the Tour de France.
Really? Oh, come on.
No.
Come on.
Hear me out. What I got a rush out of was trying to win the Tour de France. So the process of the daily grind. And again, I don't like being around a million people on a mountainside in France. As much as I love France, as much as I love riding those mountains, I don't like people being on my mountain. So if I'm there all alone, running this process, preparing to do a job that I'm paid and expected to do, I love that. But when I get there and all these people are there and and it's just absolute pandemonium, and the race finally finishes in Paris, I'm like, all right, well, let's get out of here because go celebrate with a small group of friends and then get ready to start running the process. Like, I loved that part.
I find it hard to believe. I'm not going to lie to you. I find I'm trying so hard to believe that there isn't like just beyond immense satisfaction in winning. Winning is good, especially when, you know what's great about it? Because the other people in the race, they're all trying to win, but you did it better than them in this whole winning thing. Yeah. So you won. I don't know. Maybe that's too Western of me. But
winning was, it would have, if you compare and contrast winning versus losing, you know, not that I felt what it was like to lose, but it would have been exponentially worse.
Right. Winning is everything, losing is nothing when you're in a sporting event. Not in life. You know, life is an ebb and flow, I think, of winning and losing. And sometimes the losing is good for you, or you need it, or it teaches you something that saves you much greater pain in the future. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ideally.
But not in the big game. You just want to win it.
Yeah.
And it's almost harder to come close, I would imagine.
Right. Which never, you know,
not win.
Those years didn't happen. I guess there was 1 year it was close, but.
Were there years when you didn't win, but you were close to winning?
There was, well, yeah, of course. I mean, because I did come back in, 2009, 2010. So 2009, I got third. But there were years as I was in this run of 7 that I was close to losing. Right. So 2003, I barely won. All the other years.
But what did you feel when you came in third?
It was terrible. It was terrible.
It was like worse than if you were just not even in the pack.
Oh, I should have just
that would have been easier to take.
Yeah, no part
more
of it.
Definitive.
No part of it was.
Yeah, it's got to be tough.
I shouldn't have been there.
To be like the third best person in the whole world at something, and it's still like, yeah.
Yeah, that sucked.
That's yeah. Club Random is brought to you by the audio marketing gurus at RadioActive Media. Can you believe that the year is almost over? What are you going to do to make your business crush it in the new year? Now it's time to give your business the edge by embracing new mediums to drive up sales and acquire customers by partnering with shows like mine. You can enjoy lower CPMs, elevating your brand in a space away from your competition. Generate up to 9 times more leads by combining the power of audio and video channels with text messaging and generate an ROI as high as 5, 6, or 7 to 1. The best way to achieve these goals is through the team at RadioActive Media. They create national campaigns on podcasts, terrestrial, satellite, and streaming radio. RadioActive Media has been an awesome partner to Club Random since the beginning. RadioActive believes so much in the power of audio marketing, they put their money where their mouths are by advertising on this show, right here, right now. RadioActive Media has an exclusive deal to promote your product or service on Club Random with me and save up to 50%. To find out all the details along with a few Club Random goodies thrown in, contact RadioActive Media. Go to radioactivemedia.com or text the word RANDOM to 511-511. Discover how audio marketing can surpass your current strategies with new and innovative ways that sound better. Go to radioactivemedia.com or text RANDOM to 511-511. Text RANDOM to 511-511 today to save up to 50% in 2024. Terms, conditions, message, and data rates may apply. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America that's the easiest and most exciting way to play. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. With the basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James and Travis Kelce at a 10-point combo of threes made plus receptions. And if you want to play alongside some of Prize Picks' favorite players, like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz, you can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Prize Picks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. I love Prize Picks so much, I'm going to use my winnings from Prize Picks to buy new chairs for Club Random. Go to prizepicks.com/random and use code RANDOM for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. They must give you some sort of a trinket when you win.
Yeah.
And where do you have them in your house? And or you have them?
No, there've been times that they were. It just depends which house we've. So
they don't take back the statue, do they?
So what you get for winning the Tour de France is you obviously get the final yellow jersey, which you stand on the podium with, and you get a really cool trophy that's a Limoges trophy. It's beautiful. It's been the same trophy, forever, and they make a new one every year. So no, I have all 7 of those jerseys and all 7 of those trophies. Nobody came.
I mean, they could, but they can't take away the reality that you actually won the race. That they can't take away. They can't take away time.
But this is, Bill, this is where I struggle. And look, we all know, everybody knows the story, right? But the reality is the Tour de France is it's like, the World Series, the Super Bowl, the Olympic Games. What do all of these events always have? They always have a winner. They always have a winner. And if somebody, got disqualified or whatever, well, then they promote somebody else, because events like Wimbledon, you name it, they have to have a winner. And so to take an event, and I really am advocating for the beauty of the race, to have an event like the Tour de France, which is one of the most iconic sporting events in the world, and just say, we don't have a winner, number one. Number two, nobody stood up and said, I deserve to be the winner because I didn't do shit. Then those, in my mind, those don't align, right? If it was your local Tiddlywinks competition, and you want and you want to put a line through somebody's name on Wikipedia, that's fine. I mean, nobody cares about that. But it isn't. It's the Tour de France,
right?
And for no one to, so to your question or to your point, none of my rivals came and said, "Hey, give me the trophy."
Well, here's the thing for me about,
so they're still there
about sports. Yes, is that Pete Rose, okay, we'll never let him in the Hall of Fame, I guess, but they can't take away the hits. He actually got more hits than anybody else, and everybody knows it. So it's to me, that one, I know he wants that, but to me it's superfluous because, again, the numbers. I did a thing last year on my show about nepo babies, and the point was that there's one thing I trust in a world where I trust almost no other institutions anymore, and that's sports. And the thing with the nepo babies is there are children of sports figures who play. Happens all the time.
Right.
But not because they're the kid, because they're good. Mm-hmm. If they weren't good, I think I use the example, but there's many Doc Rivers' kid plays in the NBA, but not because he's Doc's kid.
Right.
And LeBron James has a kid who he wants to play, and it's just a great feel-good story.
Now, he might play because he's LeBron's kid.
No, never.
You're absolutely right.
Even LeBron James wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, good point.
That's the thing about sports. I don't trust lots of things. The government and juries and everything else. And nepo babies, yes, they even took over modeling. But sports, I know those are the best people they can possibly find.
Okay.
And when you win, you win.
You like sports?
What was your first hint?
What's your favorite sport to watch?
Well, I watch the big three mostly. basketball, baseball, football.
Yeah.
But I don't even watch baseball during the season.
Yeah, I don't either.
I was involved with the Mets for 10 years as a minority owner, so that was exciting.
That's cool.
I grew up in the New York area, so
Yeah.
New Jersey, so I root for the Yankees. Not the Yankees. I mean, I did as a kid, but they turned me off. Mets, only in baseball. But Jets and Giants, I probably root both of them. Knicks, still Knicks. Nets, yes, but Knicks. I mean,
okay.
But tennis, yes, I'll watch like the Wimbledon final.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great show.
I totally agree. Yeah, but that's another sport that you don't watch until the slams. Like, are you watching the tournament in Indian Wells?
Right.
And meanwhile, there's
I know
20,000 people there in the stands, like physically watching. But I love watching Grand Slam finals. But Jesus, I couldn't tell you who won the Italian Open if my life depended on it.
Right. No, I mean, soccer is obviously the world's biggest sport, right?
Huge, but can't watch it.
I can't watch it either.
I can't watch it.
Or hockey. Hockey was not in my house as a kid.
Right.
It's not American. It should not be a sport. I also think golf is not really
Whoa. Time out. Time out.
What?
I love golf.
Golf
and I love hockey.
Is more of an insult to lawns than it is a sport. Any sport where you can drive to your next opportunity, I don't think is a sport.
Chris and Roster, guys, I got to cancel that tea time tomorrow. So it's an insult to lawns.
No.
The lawns in Bel Air have been insulted. We can't play tomorrow. Let's just go, what should we do? Fucking go shoot hoops? I mean, no, we're going to go play golf.
I know.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I played a little when I was a young teenager. My father and I guess he thought that was our good bonding thing. And I remember, so cute, he took his old clubs and sawed off to make a child's, we weren't the Rockefellers. And we would go out and bang it around. And I don't know. There's something about it that I just never... Too much walking and not enough action. And
most courses, actually, you don't even have to walk. You should just drive around.
No, I'm saying
drive around,
and driving is. I just that to me is not sport like driving.
I thought that way for many years. Although
I know
I fell in love with the game.
I know.
I did, but I only fell in love 10 years ago. I fell in love with the game of golf when my world changed and I didn't really.
And golf was therapeutic.
It was very, very, very therapeutic.
Really?
Because it takes a lot of time. It took up, I knew I was going to have time, and I'm like, Jesus.
Have you tried drugs? I'm not saying it's better or worse than golf. I'm just saying it's certainly easier to.
Yeah.
No. Did you hear Snoop quit?
I read that headline. I don't.
He took it back now.
I heard there was a little walk back.
It was a promotion. He's promoting a fireless smoke pit.
That's brilliant.
I mean, a smokeless fire pit.
That's brilliant.
It kind of is, yes.
I mean,
yeah, you're right. It is
a little skeezy, but kind of brilliant.
Well, it's like when it's him, you just go, you plugged this, and it's like adorable. I could see somebody else doing it, and people thinking they didn't like it.
Maybe I should try something like that.
Yeah. No, you and I are too. We're not cuddly like that. We're straightforward. Yeah. So some people are always going to fall away.
Yeah.
Whereas other people like Snoop, they're just bigger than life, and
getting bigger. It's shocking.
What is?
Snoop, just keep, you will watch Monday Night Football or whenever it is, he's there with Stapleton. It's like, this guy just gets, it's a fucking Corona commercial with, sitting, it's just, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I guess this has happened gradually, so I didn't realize it was this tsunami of Snoop mania. But, it's interesting when you do watch show figures, the way some can transition as we all go through life's passages. Yeah. Some can transition and some cannot. You know, for some people, it's like you hit 40. It's like when talkies come in. You know, like.
Are you know what I think you should? I think you should moderate a presidential debate.
I think that's a great idea, but the chances of that happening are zero.
Zero.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some number less than zero.
Are you kidding? I am literally and I wear this as a badge of honor. I am literally the last person that they would trust to do that. Right. As you can see.
I saw that clip with Cruz the other day. I was obviously.
Ted Cruz?
Yeah. Oh. Fellow Texan.
Yes. The evil Ted Cruz. How horrible that I even talk to him. This is what I get from some.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the right view.
It's not. Of course it's not. Yeah, and I tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, you should tell them to go fuck themselves.
You know, their idea is if I have somebody like Ted Cruz on, what I should do is immediately punch them in the nose when they walk out.
And God forbid you share a laugh over something.
Right.
But that's not going to. That doesn't get anybody anywhere.
No.
I enjoyed it, but then I saw some of the stuff. But look. I wouldn't probably vote for Ted Cruz, but Ted Cruz is no idiot. I mean, he's a smart guy.
Well, and that could be.
And you can totally disagree.
No, he's Harvard and Yale. He's very smart, which makes him, if he's evil, all the more evil. And I've seen him be evil. Not evil, but just not the direction I want the country to go, and nakedly just taking a position for political gain. I mean, you know, he voted against the idea that it was a free and fair election in 2020.
Right.
You know, and I busted him on it. For 5 minutes, I was yelling at him. That's still not enough for the people.
Right.
Like, how could you schmooze it up with Ted Cruz?
Right.
I didn't schmooze it up. Yeah, I did, and then I yelled at him. I told him, this is what I agree with you on, and this is what I don't. Right. Isn't that what you would do with any human being if you were trying to just get along with them?
Yeah.
I mean, if you had a neighbor who you only half agreed with, what would you try to do? Destroy them? Own them? No, you would just try to have a peaceable thing where we're not fighting.
Right. Be a neighbor.
And working, you know, with each other on certain things that we can agree are the common good. Like building that fence to keep the Mexicans out. No, but that's what, well, Texas, that's your issue down there is immigration. I mean.
Yeah, although we just moved back. So it's been interesting to move back to Austin because we were in Colorado for 5 years. And obviously born and raised in Texas and moved to Austin in 1989. Austin was just a college town and it was the state capital and that was it.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, a super nerd at the University of Texas dropped out, but he was building computers in his dorm room and, that became Dell Computers. And so, but those 5 years that we were gone, I didn't really follow Texas politics and the dynamics in Texas, and having moved back, it's you sort of have to. But it's an interesting state.
Austin and Nashville.
Yeah,
those are the two cities
that
have attracted a not gigantic but considerable diaspora of liberal people from places like here.
Right.
I know some personally who just got fed up with, and I understand why. I once tried to cut a tree down in my backyard and I couldn't do it, and I had 100 just like them. I mean, California is the regulation state. Yeah. Try to just build a shed here, and you're in bureaucracy for years. Taxes are insane.
Mm-hmm.
Homeless. I could go on. We're not leaving because we love the sunshine and we're dug in here.
Look at the day. I mean,
but some people do, and this is where they go. They go to Austin because it's not like you're in some hick place. It was always cool,
right? And
now it's cool, and of course, the bigger it gets, that always threatens cool,
right?
Yeah, I have the T-shirt that says "Keep Austin Weird."
Weird. But at the end of the day, I mean, look, you and I both lived in Los Angeles today, like. If this is a country club, it's a pretty fucking nice country club. I mean, how great was today? Like, and my wife, like, she, like, it was actually getting annoying after a while. Like every hour was like, I could live here. And I said, it starts out with, I agree, I could too. Next hour, God, I think I could live here. I'm like, all right, hang on. But she's right.
Well,
like,
I mean, I've said this before, but
you talked about taxes. What do country clubs have? They have
everybody-
dues, right? If you're a member of some shithole country club,
You're
well,
right.
guess what?
No,
The dues are really low, Bill.
Such a great way to put it, because
so-
that's exactly what it is. It's
so tough
dues.
shit. You're a member of a really nice
Right.
country club. So
It's
your
true.
dues are a little higher, pal.
Right. It's so true. But
Meanwhile, Texas, we have no dues.
right.
But, you know,
You get what you pay for.
what I love about Austin and just the growth and influx of people and wealth and all this stuff into Austin. You know, folks would come to Austin for South by Southwest, 75. It's like today in LA, right? 75, sunny,
Right.
no humidity. They're like, this is one of the coolest fucking places ever.
Right.
Or they come for ACL Fest in October,
Right.
same temps. They're like, this is amazing.
Right. But the summer.
They're like, we're moving.
Right.
And I go, guys, call me don't even call me in August, because I know you're going to be miserable in August, but call me in like when you're trick-or-treating with your kids and you're fucking sweating your face off.
Really?
Right.
That late?
It wasn't this year. It was actually nice this year, but I have been on trick-or-treats with my kids where I'm like, okay.
And why do we attribute this to global warming? You think?
I mean, I've lived there long. I mean, I don't, I'm not a, climate specialist, but it's hot. It's hot. Look, Austin can have.
There's the ad. I'm not a climate specialist.
Well, I'm not. I mean,
it's hot, folks.
But I'm also not a climate denier. I mean, yes,
No,
but
no.
I'm not sure. But Austin has 100 days over 100. Like, come on, that's a lot.
Yeah, and we never used to have that. And of course, I mean, there's weather and there's climate. Weather fluctuates.
Yeah.
Of course, there are some years that are hot. For years, the Republicans, cynically, people like Ted Cruz did this, used the year 1998 as a arbitrary starting point, and then they would, whatever year they were talking in 2015 or whatever, say, from 1998 to 2015, yes, because 1998 was an abnormally hot year.
Right.
But in the graph, it really sticks out. Because over a century, there's going to be a couple of those things. But the line, that's climate that goes in one direction.
Yeah.
And it's going in the wrong direction.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do agree with that.
Yeah.
But I also agree, yeah.
Now, we can argue, and people do, or they should, about like what's the best way to tackle this, nuclear, for example.
Totally.
You're totally for it?
Yes.
Yeah, I am too, and I've struggled.
Having said that, I'm not a climate specialist, but everything.
Well,
look, every other. Go back and compare us with Western Europeans. And nuclear energy is.
We don't need to have be a specialist to have that opinion.
Yes,
I'm for building a new highway. I'm not a dump truck.
Right. But this is an issue of branding. If it was called something else, right? Nuclear energy. If you called it, I don't know, the Bill Energy or whatever,
right.
it'd be a different brand, right? The brand
has a
stigma.
good point. Yeah, people. It's the same word that we use for nuclear bombs and of course
other nuclear accidents.
Well,
Just rebrand. We've rebranded everything, Bill.
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
By the way, they rebranded oil and gas. It's now the energy sector.
Right. You're right.
They rebranded
yes.
Gambling.
Gaming.
They rebranded liquor. It's now
spirits.
They rebranded marijuana. Cannabis. We can rebrand anything. Ooh, got him thinking. How did I stump you on the one fucking thing that all I've seen you consume? How did you were like, what is the new brand?
Right. No, you're right.
We can
medical marijuana. I mean, that's obviously a sham. I mean,
let's just rebrand it.
Yeah, you're right. Nuclear is a scary kind of word, but look, Lance, it's also actually scary. The main reason that this is a problem isn't the branding thing, although you're right, that's in there. the main reason is that when it does go bad, as in Fukushima, as in Chernobyl, as in 3 Mile Island, it can go very bad. It's in that way, it's a lot like the COVID lab where they were studying gain of function, where COVID certainly possibly came out of. At least we're on that page now. It certainly could have, and I think likely was from the lab. Is it worth it? Is the question you would ask about that. I would say no, let's not study it, because if it does get out, we create this superbug, then we've created the thing we were trying to stop. And with nuclear, I would say, well, it's similar. Like, if it does go bad, yes, you can have a really existential problem. Can we just do it in a way where, no, you just can't fuck up? Displate is a one-of-a-kind metal poster designed to capture your unique passions. Displate created a 21st century canvas that's sturdy, magnet-mounted, and durable enough to withstand a lifetime of intense staring. But staring is only half the fun. You can customize, collect, and rearrange them at will. Displate has both branded and artistic artwork. They have over 1 million designs available for everyone, including official designs from brands like Star Wars, Marvel, DC Comics, Warner Brothers, and plenty of games and movies like The Amazing Spider-Man. Each product is a high-quality design printed on metal and hand-signed by their master of production. Displate created a unique, easy, safe magnet mounting system that only takes 20 seconds. No need to drill your walls. All you need to do is wipe your wall with a cleaning wipe, stick a protective leaf, place a magnet, and put the Displate on your wall. It's that easy. Displate delivers its products worldwide in only 4 to 5 business days. It's a perfect alternative for standard paper posters that often get damaged. They're also eco-friendly. For every design sold, they're planting 1 tree. Use the link in the description below. The discount will be applied automatically at the checkout, or use code RANDOM at the checkout to get 22% off for 1 to 2 Displates, or 33% off for 3 or more Displates. Why am I telling you about Dr. Squatch soap? It's very simple, because the soaps you're showering with are shit. The usual soaps really are full of chemicals and things that ruin your skin. If you use Dr. Squatch, say goodbye to that soapy smell which makes people think that underneath it you really stink. Dr. Squatch is special because it is made with high-performance natural products, have no harmful ingredients, and have you looking and smelling your best. This is the perfect holiday gift, stocking stuffer, or treat-yourself purchase. Right now, buy 3 soaps and get 3 soaps for free. That's $28 in savings, making each bar for $4. Offer valid for new customers only, and free shipping is included. Right now, Dr. Squatch is offering my listeners a huge savings. All new customers will get 3 free bar soaps plus free shipping with any purchase of 3 bars. Just go to drsquatch.com/random to receive this buy get 3 offer. That's Dr. Squatch, DRSQUATCH.com/random to buy 3 soaps and get 3 free. It's time to get all the daily routine essentials you'll need to start feeling good and smelling like a man today. You know, when you fly over the country, what you mostly see is nothing.
Nothing.
You see, I mean, I don't mean that insultingly to the people who live in nothing land. Of course, there are things down there, but it is amazing how much of the country is, I guess they're farms, a lot of it, or, you know, just,
flyover states.
Right, and that's not fair because we love many of the places in those flyover states that we fly to.
By the way, I mean, you know, you were asking about me riding a bike the other day. I mean, those would be the perfect places to ride a bike through, right? Just nothing, no cars. What is the cyclist, or what, you know, when I'm out riding, what is the one thing you don't want to see is a car? Somebody like, wow, I'm just out here by myself. This is amazing. I get this shit to myself. That's amazing. So, meanwhile, a lot of them are really flat and hot and windy.
Is this why you're moving back to Austin, for this kind of peace of mind?
I got sick of the, my wife is from Colorado, so she'll kill me for, she knows this, but she'll kill me for reminding her. But the 7 months of snow and snow on the ground just got too much. So it's been good to be back. I actually don't ride that much in Austin just because of the growth. But I grew up swimming, so I swim with the team that I trained with before I left.
Well, I tell you, Austin has the potential to be a really important city in history. I know that sounds like exaggerating, but it has, if we're ever going to bring this country together, it'll probably be in a place like Austin because it's a very blue place surrounded by red.
I think it's that blue. I don't know.
Austin?
I think that, and this is just my impression, but I think it's changed. I think it's, if anything, it's purple.
Right. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay. But
yes.
When I moved there in 1989, I mean, this thing was as bright blue as you can be. And I watched it change over the years, and I watched wealth move there, and you just notice, like, look, what the fuck do I know? Like, I don't go around and ask, like, my friends, like, I know what my friends are into, but as a parent, and you got to go to, the school carnival and all this shit, or the birthday parties, or, I mean, you start to notice over time, you're like, I'm not so sure you've voting for Bill Clinton or Barack Obama. And as the years went on, so I do think it's there's a mix there, which maybe that's good, to your point.
Yes, because there was nothing wrong with voting for Mitt Romney.
I'm so sorry. We just got an ESPN notification. What could possibly be going on?
On ESPN?
Yeah.
Lance
Lance Armstrong just admitted again. By the way, nothing wrong with Mitt Romney. And
I was going to say, right.
Give me Mitt Romney all fucking day long.
Exactly. I look
outside
back,
of I'm not sure how I square up with the religion thing but even then I'm fine. Like just give me a self-made real guy who seemingly just gives a fuck about doing the best thing. What's wrong with that?
Right. No, and I didn't vote for any of them. But I always looked at it like I always would give the Republican a chance. I just literally thought Clinton was better than Bush and Dole. I literally thought Obama was better than, just down the line. But John McCain wasn't a bad guy. Either was Mitt Romney, even George W. Bush. I look back and nobody was harder on that guy. And he was kind of a doofus. But there's a few things that made me understand, okay, it could have been a lot worse. And then it got a lot worse.
Right.
It got a lot worse.
Look, I mean, history is going to look.
I just want to go back to that time.
Yeah.
When it was like, Obama against John McCain. Yeah, I know who I'm voting for, but it's like, I'm not going to blow my brains out if the other guy wins. Right. And he's not going to run the world weirdly.
Yeah.
And in fact, most people wouldn't know who the fuck was president at any given time.
Or, look, by the way, he's still alive, right?
Who?
W. Let's just use W. So ask him.
As much as he ever was, he's alive, yes.
Well, ask him. Listen, I mean, what does he think? He'll tell you this is insanity. He can't believe it.
But you're friends with him, right?
I haven't talked to W in a long time, but I would consider myself a friend. I really.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. And I disagreed with almost all of the politics. But you know what, Bill? At the end of the day, no. He
wasn't doing it for George Bush.
Here's the punchline.
He was just trying to. He thought this is what he thought in his Texas fucked up mind.
At the end of the day, I really, really like the guy.
Yes,
you can't be around. The guy is so fucking likable. He's like a grown frat boy. I fucking love the guy.
Okay, that's not what we want as president.
No, but that's what we got.
Okay, but that's not making me.
I didn't realize.
Trying to make up with him, and you just ruined it again. He's not really a frat boy, is he?
Listen. Let me give you a great story. This is a great story. So W really got into cycling. It's in specifically mountain biking.
Yeah.
So he had this ranch outside of Waco. He invited me up after the Tour de France in 2005 to go mountain biking with him on his ranch. So, I mean, it's the fucking president. And I said, absolutely, Mr. President. So drive up there, go riding with him. And it's in August. It's right after the tour. It is 100. It's hotter than donut grease. And we go out on this mountain bike ride, and we get done. And he's got this his house is it's kind of a nice little pool in the middle. He says, hey, should we go for a swim? And I said, sure, Mr. President. So I get my shit on, and the next thing you know, he comes out with his swim trunks on. And
is this a gay story?
No, it's not.
Oh shit.
But I'm already in the pool, and I'm not kidding you, this is the President of the United States of America. The motherfucker dives in the pool and comes up right in front of me. And he says, so, who's the biggest dickhead in a peloton? And I'm sitting there in the middle of what is the President of the United States of America's pool in the middle of Texas. And I'm like, this motherfucker is the most powerful man in the world.
Wow. And
he just wants to know who the biggest dickhead is. This is Cowboys and Indians, right? Who? And I'm like, oh, I don't even know how to answer the question.
Well, yeah, you're bringing back memories of Bush now. And that's it. Yeah, I was trying to remember him more fondly, but yeah, and that unfortunately, I wish I could say, well, you can separate that from the guy who invaded Iraq stupidly. You can't really.
You can't.
Because that's who that guy is, and that's what that guy is going to do. Don't mess with Texas. So
don't forget the influence of Dick Cheney, but
okay, but that itself is a character flaw.
Right. But
to put your country in the hands of somebody else.
By the way, Bill, I mean, this was 2004. I was the poor sap who had to ride around fucking Europe in a jersey that said the United States Postal Service right after this. Wildly unpopular world.
I never thought of that.
The fucking freedom fries and all the shit people said. I'm riding around in a United States Postal Service jersey, red, white, and blue.
So what
Let's
did people
go.
do? Did they spit on you and like yell bad?
Yes is the answer to that. But
really?
Of course.
Just because you're American?
Well, you got to remember, 2004 was tour number 6, so I had a good 5+ years of doing my own stupid shit to guarantee that these people were pissed. And keep in mind,
I guess I'm forgetting that. But
keep in mind, if you're riding around the roads of France during the Tour de France, that doesn't mean it's all French people. No, my biggest rival was German, and my second biggest rival was Italian. We'd go to the Pyrenees. There was a huge team sponsored by the Basque government. They would take over the Pyrenees. So it wasn't like a bunch of French people hating on us. It was Europe. But yeah, 2004 is like, man, they were like, and they knew I had this relationship with the president. So it played into this whole narrative, which is, it just is what it is. And the crazy thing, because as hard as the Europeans tried to bring me down, they never could. It took the Americans.
Yes.
It took the Americans.
Of course.
It took the Americans.
It's always the person closest to you.
Yeah, and so
of course.
But hey, it happened, and
well, this country does love the build 'em up, tear 'em down thing. They just it's their little Madonna whore complex. I don't get it. But they love both those stories and not much in between. Right. But that's also why they like redemption. Like, you could run for office now, even though it would be like,
that's
unthinkable.
Not going to happen. But
no, I'm not suggesting it, and I always try to dissuade celebrities.
Yeah.
I've counseled Mr. The Rock, who thinks he can be president. I'm sure he's a great guy, and I hear him talk about his leadership skills. Mm-hmm. That's not what matters, and it's not going to help. Yeah, everybody likes your movies, Republicans, Democrats. It has nothing to do with running the world. Right. The fact that you think you can run the world tells me you have terrible judgment. Mm-hmm. Because you need to know things, not be taught things on the first day. Right. On the first day, you need to know, what's TPP?
Right. Looking around the room like, wait, what just happened?
What is reconciliation? Yeah. Who's the president of India? You know, I could name like 500 things you need to know. It's an actual, you know, calling government service.
Yep.
It's not because the movies have dried up. It's that time of year for your favorite holiday movies. Maybe yours are It's a Wonderful Life or A Christmas Story or maybe Elf. Mine is Bad Santa. To make these holiday classics, it takes a team of talented people, from actors to editors to props people, the sound crew, and many more. And when it comes to building such a team, whether it's for the entertainment industry or a wide range of other industries, you need to hire the right people. The best way to do that is with ZipRecruiter. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/random. ZipRecruiter helps you find better employees by using a powerful matching tech, and then lets you send them a personal invite to apply for the job. Make your hiring a little merrier this year with ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Just go to this exclusive web address right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. ZipRecruiter.com/random. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/random. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Wives very often don't like me because I never got married, you know.
I didn't know that. I just assumed you had a wife and kids.
Really?
Yeah. I asked Chris when I got here. I was like, how many kids does Bill have?
Lance, you're not gonna have to admit something. You've never once seen my show. Okay.
No,
that's okay.
No, hang on a second.
We've been down this road before where you lie and then you have to and then you have to cop to the lie.
Reconcile.
I just would be more happy if we right from the beginning, and it's totally okay. I didn't watch all your races.
I don't watch a lot of TV, but I see all the clips. Look, I watched the whole fucking Jake Tapper thing. I like this shtick. But in watching all the clips, I never caught the clip where you said I never got married or I never had kids or I hate women or whatever you said.
I definitely didn't say I hate women.
I know that, but
if I didn't love them so much, I would have gotten married.
Let's see.
Yeah. Well, people don't get married either because they don't like women at all, or they like them a lot.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Not that.
No, I was just glad too that I was, because there was a minute that I thought I was going to be on that show. Oh my gosh!
I thought I was like, how am I going to?
On Real Time. Yeah, the HBO
talking,
show.
Right.
That'd be bad.
Yeah. Well, that's why this is so much fun for me.
Yeah.
That
I
thing
love your setup. It's amazing.
Oh, I love getting to. When else would I have the opportunity to get to know you?
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, when they told me that you were booked, I was like, oh, wow. I was like giddy that day. I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
We got Lance Armstrong to come here. The first man on the moon.
Exactly. It's
do you know that your name does?
Yeah, I agree.
This is how famous you were. When they asked the question of,
I saw a clip. You guys did a clip where you asked some chick on the street.
It wasn't me. I was showing.
I know, but I said you guys asked some girl on the street.
I didn't, but no,
said,
I was
who was
showing.
the first man on Mars or the moon? And she said,
no. Let me tell it. I lived it.
You weren't there.
I was showing a clip from TikTok of a guy who does a man on the street thing, which is a ripoff of what Jay Leno used to do, called jaywalking, where you ask regular people questions that should be common knowledge, and it reveals how fucking stupid this country is. Okay, so the question was, who was the first man to walk on the sun?
Come on.
I swear to God.
Somebody did send me this, but I don't remember the sun part.
And the second part was Lance Armstrong. Of course it was Lance Armstrong. Not only does she not understand the sun part, but then gets the name wrong. It's so perfect. So you played a part in history. But yes, your name comes up a lot when that question is asked of Gen Z, who walked on the moon.
It makes that whole Icarus thing just even more...
I could see us weaving that into this movie we're going to make with Chris Evans, an Icarus plot, flying too close to the sun. I mean, I
think that's right.
That'd be a good name for a dog.
Icarus.
I'm looking for dog names now because my dogs are getting very, very old.
That's too bad.
Yeah. Gee, Lance.
Well, I mean, they don't live as long as...
You sound so sincere.
No, we have a dog.
What a guy. No, I know. But I'm sure you've been through when a dog dies. It's the worst, right?
I didn't grow up with dogs, but we now have a dog.
Well, it's going to die and you're going to be sad.
Yeah, I know. But
Barbra Streisand cloned her dog. Do you know that?
Was that in her book just now?
It is in her book. I'm sure it is. I have not read it all, although I read some of it, and it's actually fantastic. But she's famous for doing it. I mean, she had a little white ball of fur, and it's cloned. I mean, it's not a sired animal. It's cloned.
Huh.
So, just saying, there are options, and I'd like to show you a few brochures.
Okay.
No, but I'm going to let things happen naturally. By the way, if you could levitate and go pass through that ceiling and go up about 10 feet and then turn around about 10 feet that way, you would see a dog graveyard.
Oh, wow.
I've personally buried all my dogs that I've had. I have 4 graves.
Whoa.
They're bowls.
I think I'm going to stay down here if that's all right.
But
what's in that? I'm like, now Lance Armstrong's levitating to the dog grave. What the fuck?
But their bowls that they use serve as their headstones.
Oh, wow.
And I personally dug the graves because I find it's very cathartic to dig your own dog's grave, and it's not easy because the dirt is not just.
Right. I don't.
There's rocks and roots. And,
by the way, our dog's young. I don't want to think about this.
Okay. But so I've been thinking about the dog names that I want to have them picked out when the new dogs come.
Donald
is not
on
one
the short
that's
list.
on the short list. No. But I like Icarus. That is a cool name for a dog.
It was a great documentary. I don't know if you saw the Brian Fogel documentary. Icarus. No. Well, it won the Academy Award for Best Documentary. So
about what?
About oddly enough, this is actually a great backstory. About the government, essentially the government-sponsored doping program in Russia.
Oh.
So he won the Academy Award probably 6 or 7 years ago. And this guy reached out to me when he first had the idea. This guy, Brian Fogel, who now has the little fucking statue on his fireplace at home or wherever the hell, his office or whatever. This guy calls me and says, I have this idea. I'm going to make this documentary. And I'm going to take all the drugs that you guys supposedly took, and I'm going to prove that you can't get caught, right? You can get around it. And I'm like, I don't think I can help you. I think this is a bad idea. But that's a bit.
So he was saying he could beat the test.
Yes. And I said, who is overseeing this program for you? And he says, I have this Russian doctor who of course has become who he's become. And at that point, I'm like, okay, this call is over. There's no way you have some doctor guiding you through. He had the actual doctor who was at the heart of it all. It's an amazing documentary. I mean, obviously, it's amazing it won the Academy Award, but the way he sort of, came into this story, unbelievable.
So can he? Does he? Can you do that?
Yes, you can.
He did.
Yeah. But
he was able to mask it completely.
It's not so much masking. Look, I mean,
but you did things. I mean, when you're doing them, you're always doing things to foil the.
No. Well, in a sense, you would foil the system, but what I always said, and I'm not trying to justify anything that I ever said as something I would want to repeat again, but one of the lines was, I've been tested 500 times, I've never failed a drug test. That's not a lie. That is the truth. There was no way around the test. When I pissed in the cup and they tested the piss in the cup, it passed. Now, the reality and the truth of all of this is some of these substances, primarily the one that is the most beneficial, has a 4-hour half-life.
Mm.
So certain substances, whether it be cannabis or anabolics or whatever, have much longer half-lives, right? You could smoke that joint and go to work driving your tractor or going to whatever in 2 weeks and test positive because the half-life is much longer. With EPO, which was the rocket fuel that changed not just our sport, but every endurance sport, you have a 4-hour half-life. So it leaves the body very quickly. And with a 4-hour half-life, you can just do the math.
Right.
Yes, he did it all, and it's an amazing documentary.
There must be side effects that EPO has about that concerned you about your general health.
Effects. So there's
nothing. It seems like every time you do anything inside the body, there is some aftermath effect downstream. What is it for this one? It can't be. Is it completely natural? It can't be.
It's not natural, but look, I again,
well, sometimes
just like I'm not a climate specialist, I'm not a
well, you know a lot about this.
I do know a lot about this, and what I would tell you, and I'm not, I hedge a little because of this. I don't want to encourage anybody to do something that they just don't have to do.
But the truth is you had a drug that was undetectable, that was wildly beneficial to recovery,
to performance and recovery. Both are important, but primarily to performance. Your top end when it's time to race. I mean, 10%.
Right.
10%. And as we were led to believe, which I don't disagree with, that if taken under the care of a doctor, was safe.
That's bullshit because
nope.
What? But 3 words, Dr. Conrad Murray.
But
I'm just saying you can have there are all sorts of quacks who will sign on to anything, especially for celebrities.
Okay.
So that one means nothing to me.
And again, I'm not justifying our usages or anybody's use, but how do you then understand, right? You go look at a large pool of folks who did, right? So we had thousands of guys in our generation.
No.
So if there was whatever it was,
look,
whether
the fact that you're sitting here now, all these years later, tells me just on a common sense level, well, it's not that bad. Now maybe your gallbladder will fall out of your ass in 5 years, but it looks.
And then I'll come back and I'll be. It'll be.
I mean,
no, but the testing pool, so to speak, or the sample pool was large. There were thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of us who made this choice. Again, not justifying that. I feel like we would have started to hear, that people's, what did you just say, fell out of my ass? My
gallbladder.
My gallbladder. I mean, if that were a thing,
yeah, but sometimes
that would be a headline.
But sometimes
100 cyclists from the 90s just had their gallbladder fall out of their ass.
That's what I'm saying. By now it would.
Right.
Not after 5 years. You have to give it some time. But I bet that whatever that shit you were doing hurt you less than the amount of liquor I was consuming in that era.
Right.
Because that was my Tour de France, was to get from one end of Sunset Boulevard to the next, drinking in every bar.
Yeah. Well, it turns out one of them was banned and one of them wasn't. And one of them, you didn't walk around town or around the world telling people that you didn't drink from one end of Sunset
I understand,
to the other.
But I'm just saying.
That's the problem.
I'm just saying, when I look back, I realize, like, what you can do to your body changes. It's almost too good when you're in your 20s because you can abuse it so badly and still function and get up the next day.
I agree. What you said at the top of the show, like I'm with you. I'm not 67, but I'm not far behind. It's I mean, I had my daughter's 22nd birthday last night. She was, and we went down to dinner and having wine. She said, "Dad, let's go out." And I'm like, no.
No, come on.
Like I would be, I wouldn't have shown up today.
It's not the season of your life.
I would have had to cancel.
Yeah, no.
On one of my favorite guys. I watch every show.
No, I mean, you can only slow it down. You can only run so fast from the monster that is always chasing you, which is ill health, and it will catch you at some point. So everybody dies of something. Well, unless AI, that's my big hope. I feel very strong and confident that AI is going to get this done. This whole death thing.
It's not going to get the death thing done, but it's going to help a lot of things.
Well, let's be optimistic.
No,
Lance.
well, let's be optimistic. But how about we just start with like 2 different types of cancer, or 2 different types of diabetes, or 2 different. Like it's certainly going to speed that stuff up.
And this, well, we would hope. I mean, my argument.
Are you worried about AI?
I am worried about AI.
Like if you just said, okay, if just say AI, does that strike fear, or is that a hopeful thing?
It's both. It's the.
Well, which one is more prevalent?
Because the honest answer is because I am 67. I am willing to roll the dice on all the bad parts to see if it can. Because it's been a very long time since we declared the war on cancer, and this is part of my argument always when health matters comes up, especially like recently with the pandemic, and I totally was not on the page of how the government handled it.
Yep.
Not being an anti-vaxxer, but there's a lot of open fairway there between anti-vaxxer and just blindly doing what. Oh shit! I knocked some shit in.
I didn't want to say anything, but I did
blindly
notice
doing whatever the government says.
I did notice a few of those things.
I'm not going to drink ash. I smoke enough of it. But they cannot convince me that it's a good idea to sit there and say, well, we are the government officials, or we have the white lab coats, and so we're just saying do this, don't ask any questions, when you haven't even figured out cancer, or Parkinson's, or MS, or thousands of things.
These are way more complicated.
What is?
Well, just use cancer as an example. I mean, cancer is...
No, but I'm just saying, you can't have there can't be so many things in medicine that they either don't know or have reversed themselves on. And then tell me when something new comes along, no debate. If you debate it, then you're going against the science. There is no "the" in science. We have to always debate it because we don't know, and you're not good at it. You haven't proved yourself to be good at it. Cure cancer and come back and talk to me about blindly following you. But you can't even get that one.
Well, I would probably defend them a little. I mean, the cancer. Well,
you and your ball again.
No.
Just take your ball and go home.
It's been 27 years, and I'm still sitting here, and I feel better than ever. But to that point, cancer is one word. Cancer is hundreds of diseases. Right. So look, I'm sitting here right now. I'm sure you have an aunt or a neighbor or a friend who's surviving breast cancer, or or somebody that survived prostate cancer. These are all different diseases. We get tricked by looking at the one word, which is cancer.
No, I'm very happy.
And there will not be a moonshot here. Like nobody's coming in tomorrow going, AI just cured cancer.
Well,
it's not happening. We have to go disease by disease by disease.
Okay, but that is I don't think that's quite as pessimistic as you painted. I think that that AI could do that.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah, it would definitely be great. I don't see why it couldn't if it is at this level where it. But we don't know. But I definitely think that that's something to have a lot of hope for, because I don't mind dying. I just don't want to be the last guy who didn't benefit from the cure for death. If we did this one day earlier, we could have saved Bill Maher, but he died, and then we got the cure on a Thursday. Oh, fuck. You know what I mean?
God. Have you tracked the captagon thing?
Captagon, what's that?
Exactly.
What is captagon?
Look it up. I'll send you an article.
I can't now. Just tell me.
So captagon and I didn't, just so you know, I didn't know what captagon was until about a month ago, and I did a workout with this author who's really good, a guy named Michael Easter. He wrote The Comfort Crisis and just has a new book out. But so we did a workout in Austin, and he was telling me about researching for the new book and how he went to Baghdad to research the use of captagon. And I said, what the fuck is captagon? Meanwhile, everybody listening is like Googling. And so captagon is they call it sort of a poor man's cocaine. It's a mix between meth and coke. They found the captagon pills or tablets on a lot of some of the Hamas guys that got killed. They had them in their pocket.
Oh yeah, speedy stuff.
But it's more than. But there's something about it. And so so as Syria fell, and then what's his face went in and took over all the pharmaceutical companies. Syria is basically a narco state now, and they're making captagon. And all these Hamas guys that went across there, as was the case back in Iraq and et cetera with ISIS, they were taking captagon.
Can you get some? No, I don't want. I just never tried that one.
What time is it?
It's time for me to pee.
No, I'm not done yet. I had a few more questions.
Credit when that Chris Evans movie comes out.
By the way, who the fuck is Chris Evans?
Who's Chris Evans?
Never heard of Chris Evans. I don't watch stuff.
He's a big movie star.
He is?
Yes, he's Mr. Captain America.